Hi, friend. So, I want to talk about something that feels a little tricky to talk about, and that is abundance, and specifically about money. We all tend to have this response to money that is triggered through our nervous system. And those triggers and those patterns that we have connected to money are learned. They're learned from our parents, they're learned from our family, they're learned from the communities that we grow up in. And I say I tend to play those out in our present day situations. For me, I grew up in two homes that were full of love, had lots of love, but they were also very deeply rooted in scarcity. So the messaging that I heard all the time was that we don't have money, we don't have enough money, and we never will have money. So built into my system was I was going to say the fact, but I'm going to stop myself on that one, was the belief that money was unsafe, unpredictable, and something to be afraid of. And I've seen that in so many people around me, especially in the last 4 years, because it has been such a journey around money and my connection with money. And I found that two things have helped me truly the most to change those core beliefs and those patterns. And the first one is that I am finding that I now have evidence that I am able to handle difficult situations. And the second one is that I am building a relationship with my nervous system, that I can relax my nervous system into a space that I can feel calm and safe with money. And those have been really big changes, because for me, my nervous system, when it comes to money, would often completely spike to a place that I was responding from fear, from my head, and responding in a pattern that I had learned and that I was replicating into the future. And I wanted to share the ways that I've done that, because for me, I didn't know that there were any other ways that you could have a relationship, because being in relationship with money is that it is a relationship. And I only knew what I knew, and I didn't think that there was any other way to do money. I just thought, this is the hand I've been dealt, and this is exactly how it's going to go for the rest of my life. And so I just wanted to share those in case that helps somebody else know that there is an opportunity to do things differently. So it really stemmed from a situation that happened for me, and I don't know if we all need this, but for me, this is what I needed. I'm going to take that. Well, let's leave needed as a loose word right now. Let's just say that it was a catalyst. And I had pretty much my worst fear ever around money happen. And it had to do with taxes. I'm very good with taxes, but a situation happened with a misunderstanding, and it meant that I owed an enormous amount of money. And from that moment, something broke in me. And I, in that moment, fell to the floor and believed one of two things was going to happen. I would either go to jail, or something terrible was going to happen, like I was going to have a heart attack, and I would not survive this thing that was happening to me. So very much in victim, everything is happening to me that I don't have a say within this. And because that situation happened, I had to write down and then share with a close family friend, these deep, dark financial secrets. And what I learned in that moment was that I had some of the deepest shame I had ever known up until that moment. And I didn't realize that was my relationship. That was my connection with money. It was rooted in shame. So the first thing was just to know where it came from, where my fears, where my patterns, where my responses in my nervous system connected to money was coming from. It was coming from a deep sense of shame. So I had to get into action, essentially. And that's what I did. I got into action in the way of making bold choices that pushed me deeply out of my comfort zone. So the first thing I did was I started a money book club with friends that wanted to also understand their relationship to money. The second thing I did was I applied to be on a podcast to have a money makeover, which when I wrote out the email to them and shared the shame that I felt, shared things like some of my dirty secrets of like, I would throw away bills in the garbage because if I couldn't see them, I didn't have to pay them. And writing those out to a giant financial institution was so freeing as well. In a way, it was like the more that I talked about the shame, the less shame I felt, or the less judgment I had around that shame. So it was like the shame got smaller and smaller. I also listened to tons of money podcasts, even though I a lot of the time didn't know what they were talking about. After a while, I started to learn what they were talking about. I started watching a ton of money webinars. I did something that scared the pants off of me, and I went into a bank and said, if I was to get a home loan, what does that look like? And had to face the fact that I didn't know words like compound interest. I didn't know what that word meant. And when I went in and talked to them, I said, that very thing. I don't even know what compound interest is. So can you talk to me like I am a kid? Like really explain it to me. And I'm going to ask a lot of questions. So I gave myself permission. So even doing those things, it was like I was taking that power back. And what I learned, what I was doing was giving myself financial literacy. So learning more about all of these words that I was so ashamed that I didn't know about. And I started to learn what those words were. So that was getting into action on the physical level. And by doing that, I was starting to like soften the shame and the nervous system triggers that I was getting. So those are things that I would definitely recommend. I can put a few of the books that I read and a few of the podcasts that I listened to into the notes below. But truly, I think it comes down to you finding what is going to be the person that speaks directly to you that you feel safe with, because that is the biggest thing with money, is feeling really safe. For me personally, is like feeling a deep sense of safety around money, and that included the people that were educating me about money. Next thing I looked at was the energy of money and my relationship to the energy of money. And I took a course called From Fear to Flow with this like intuitive powerhouse in Australia. Her name is Krista Jane Smith. And I did the course with her. And what was amazing about that was that being witnessed in your relationship to money, being in conversation with other people about money, and to really talk with a group of other human beings about like my worries about money, like what scares me about money, and to hear that I was not alone. We are not alone. Nobody is alone when it comes to money. Nobody. We all have our triggers and our fears and our worries about money, and so many of us don't talk about it. And there is some of the most beautiful freedom in talking about money with others. So back to the course. What was so interesting about it was that KJ uses a technique called emotional freedom technique. It's called EFT. And I'll do a disservice trying to give it a really rudimentary definition, but you are tapping on meridian points. So you are basically disrupting that flow, those loops, those patterns that you have around past memories, past experiences, core beliefs, any of like the deep-seated stuff that you have. Doing EFT would help disrupt that flow. And through doing that and kind of like peeling away so many of the layers around how I would protect myself around money, the experiences I would have, the practices, the way that I would be in relationship with it now. Once I started to like look at all of those things, and some things are like, okay, so when a bill comes in the mail, how do I feel about it? When I spend over $100, how do I feel about that? Like looking at all of the granular things and recognizing, seeing my relationship to those moments, and then being able to tap on them was fascinating because it allowed me to start to get deeper. You know, we know the idea of being an onion layer, like once you start to get deeper and deeper, like we're like onions. And I really saw that with it, because what I found when I did this work with KJ was that underneath everything was this deep wound I'm not going to say that because it was actually like a belief. I believed that I fundamentally was not supposed to have money and didn't deserve to have money in this lifetime. I fundamentally believed that I didn't deserve to have money in this lifetime. I fundamentally, on every level, believed that. So it didn't matter how many affirmations I was doing or how many books I was reading, because I realized that what it was always hitting was this deep-seated belief that I fundamentally didn't deserve to have money in this lifetime. I'm sorry I've said that so many times because I think it gets me every single time. I just can't believe that that is what's sitting underneath it. And I also say it so that you can also hear too that we have these like deep core beliefs that sit deep down within us that are driving so many of our responses to money, and they are the charge that electrifies our nervous system and triggers it into a place of feeling that sense of fear, that sense of worry, that dread, which I had this morning. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning worrying about how much money do I have in my retirement, set up for retirement so that I can be safe. And like, those are what is so worrying, and feeling like at 3 o'clock in the morning is the best time to have these deep worries because our prefrontal cortex is switched off, so our logical mind isn't helping us, and creating this even deeper loop of fear around retirement and what will I do about it, what can I do about it, and that deep dread. So having these practices, having all of these ways to feel like, how can I feel safe when I'm connected to money? How can I feel a sense of safety? I'm back again. I had to take a minute and just close my eyes and get back in connection with my body. Wow. Talking about feeling safety around money is still a trigger. And I'm still working on that, and I work on it every day. And so I wanted to share that with you in case any of that resonated for you, even if it just helps you to know that you're not alone with it and that there is an opportunity to change that. Because yes, I have those moments that happen like last night, but I have them less. And I also feel that I have experiences now that I can sit back on or relax into that are, it's okay, like I've got this, I've done this before, I am safe. And so I'm slowly breaking those deep rooted patterns of fear that I learned, and I am now recreating different patterns. And every time I do something different, I reinforce this new pattern, this new loop, and this new belief that I have around money, which is that I fundamentally deserve to have money in this lifetime. So do you. We all do. And so I wanted to share that in case any of that resonated and helped somebody. So I'll put some resources down in the notes below. I'll even share a bit of information. KJ has like a tapping video if you want to learn anything more about EFT. And yeah, just know it can change. It really can. And am I going to leave on this? I'm going to leave on this. In the last 4 years that I have started talking to people about money and talking to everybody about money, I have seen some of the most incredible, truly incredible miracles happen with people that I know, and miracles with myself as well too, which is very cool. And when I say miracles, for me, sometimes they can be really little, but they're truly still miracles. So, okay, I'm going to finish on that one. I'm not going to go down that road of miracles, but like miracles, money, energy, currency, relationship, it's all there. Okay, I'm gonna go.